In the spring of 1965, in a little town in East Texas called Ames, Liberty County, population 1,400, on a dirt road, a young woman approached a number of little shotgun houses. These shotgun houses were occupied by African Americans who were low income and who in many ways were excluded from the mainstream of what was happening in Liberty County, Texas in 1965. She came to the porch of the little shotgun house that my mother and my sister and I lived in, and she talked to my mom about a new government program called Head Start and asked if my mother would enroll me. Of course, my mother took great advantage of the idea of getting me out of the house and getting me a head start on my education.
Head Start is a comprehensive educational program that speaks to the whole character of the child. And so Head Start reaches children and parents and has a track record and the data that makes clear that the advantages that you gain in Head Start are maintained well into your educational journey, and if sustained and supported, continue with you for the rest of your life.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job.
The science is pretty clear. Without a rich early language environment, without quality early child care, without quality interaction, you will never reach your potential. Because the brain, unlike any other organ, really comes out pretty unformed. During the first few years of life, some 80 to 85% of the physical brain will be grown. The brain is incredibly active, creating some 700 to 1,000 new neural connections every second. It's really building the foundations for all thinking and learning. And what grows it? It's really the language and interaction with parents and caregivers. Learning doesn't start on the first day of school. It doesn't start on the first day of kindergarten. It starts on the first day of life. And these first 5 years of life are critical. What's very interesting is that I see that there are so many other countries out there who are taking our research and putting it into action systematically, developing complex approaches to the early child care setting because they know that if they want their population to be at the top at math and reading and technology, the STEM fields, they need to start day one.
America has had rapidly changing demographics, not just in heritage, but also in an increase in poverty. And if kids don't have access to great programs like Head Start, they will forever be behind and they'll never be able to catch up to their peers. And what that also means to America is they won't have the workforce that we need to compete in the global economy. So Head Start is absolutely vital for America now and in the future.
I'm almost done.
I'm almost done too.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a tough one to guess?
Yeah. Yours gonna be a tough one to guess too?
I'm making a picture of something that I remember seeing outside our window.
A rainbow.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was so pretty.
Yeah.
My gosh.
In a high poverty home, there's generally less either knowledge or access to high nutrition food. So a lot of children are going to receive their most nutrients of the day in a center-based program. Having the right macronutrients, micronutrients, it's so key to healthy brain development.
When people are living in poverty, they have a lot of stresses in their lives. So parents may not have as much time to play with their kids, to engage them in conversations about life and why things work the way they do. And that's where I think it's really important that Head Start is available to families so that the parents have a place where their kids can go and can learn, and they can bring home activities that can help the parents engage with their kids. So home and school can work together in that way.
And what train is this?
The A train.
There is this amazing video of Lyndon Johnson when he talked about the war on poverty, and he talked about his experience in Cotulla, Texas, and he saw kids that needed a head start, that needed to have, good meals at school. They needed to learn the alphabet when they were very young. They needed to have those health and wellness checks. They needed to have the social, emotional support. And he promised himself that when he ever got in a position to do something about that, he would.
We called our program Project Head Start. The program was conceived not so much as a federal effort, but really as a neighborhood effort. And the response we have received from the neighborhoods and the communities has been the most stirring and the most enthusiastic of any peacetime program that I can remember. It shows that we are recognizing that poverty perpetuates itself. 5- and 6-year-old children are inheritors of poverty's curse and not its creators. Unless we act, these children will pass it on to the next generation like a family birthmark. I believe that this is one of the most constructive and one of the most sensible and also one of the most exciting programs that this nation has ever undertaken.
He started Head Start, and I was one of the beneficiaries of that. And I'm grateful because I know that it changed my life. It has changed the lives of millions of people. It's changed and improved their communities, and it's prepared the workforce. I became a rocket scientist, became an engineer, graduate of Stanford Engineering, and that road to all that workforce and success started with Head Start. We lived in very humble circumstances. We lived, on a dirt street when I started my school experience. And so my mom enrolled me in the program. And I remember to this day Mrs. Davenport opening the door, and she just looked to me amazing. And she just beamed when she welcomed us into the classroom. I remember it all being really fun. And every week I got to do a new book, and I got to work on my penmanship, and I learned the alphabet very carefully. And so that when I started my first grade, my teacher, she was really impressed with me because most of my classmates were my neighbors, and they had not been part of Head Start. So I got to go to the head of the class right away, and I was the star student. And I was the star student because of Head Start. Everything from, making sure you have dental, health, wellness checks, but also your social emotional, your psychological needs of your child, as well as preparing them to learn, helping them learn about reading, learning the alphabet, print awareness, colors, shapes, all those things, and doing it in a way that's fun, that they will have, just like I had, develop a love of learning. That comes from Head Start, and you really don't get that in any other program.